Awesome. As you can see here, we are going to be exploring the art of wall washing and grazing. This is our next reel-to-reel light in motion. I'm very excited about today. This is just kind of the beginning. We have some other really cool videos that we're gonna bring in here. I just wanted to again introduce myself. I'm Cam, Senior National Training Manager here at Diode LED. And I wanna jump in here and just talk about some high level focus points or talking points today. So reel to reel here. So I wanted to kind of remind us on why we are trying to implement grazing and wall washing into our projects. And so again, we're going to talk about the difference between both of them here in just a sec. But in the end run, what we do really well at Diode LED is we can obviously achieve general illumination, ambient lighting. We now have tape light engines that can get up to 1,000 lumens a foot. We can break off into different applications and different parts of the project that you couldn't before in the past. We obviously can do task lighting as well, but where we play very well is accent lighting. And in the end run, accent lighting, the purpose of it is to draw the eyes of the viewer to the architectural details and things, memorabilia, artwork, all the things that people love and put into their projects, and drawing the eyes of the viewer to those things they care about. And obviously grazing and wall washing is just one way to achieve this. And so to increase that drama in the architecture, okay, to also highlight textures. So in the end run, for example, a good analogy is like wood slat walls. This is a very popular application that we're seeing really on the rise these last 5 years. In the end run, a flat white wall that's not a feature point. Okay, that's really just meant to be for structural foundation. But when you put a wood slat wall in there, right? When you put a wood slat wall, there's no reason architecturally, structurally to actually put that wood slat wall in there. It's just meant to look really cool. There's some intent behind it from the architect. So our goal, right, is to take linear lighting or lighting of any kind and obviously implement it, integrate it into that wood slat wall, so now your eyes draw to that architectural detail. In the same way, this is why we are backlighting stone. Stone looks amazing, onyx stone looks amazing when off, but man, does it look incredible, and it's transformative when you backlight it and kind of infuse light into that stone. Whether this is backlighting, this is bordering, grazing, wall washing, I want us just to keep that in the forefront of our minds today, is that this is just one lighting design technique on how to draw the viewer's eyes to all of those architectural details that they care about, that they spent their so much money on. And so a couple other talking points here, highlighting the textures. If there's texture, okay, at all, if there's stone, geometric shapes, we want to try to graze that or wall wash that and bring it to life. As you can see, even in the background here, noticing that contrast, those shadows, how it really pulls out that texture. And then also bringing different surfaces to life as well. And so utilizing the different paints and colors in a space, the different types of materials, and bringing light to that so that we can bring those surfaces out. So before we get into the next video, I want to talk about the difference between wall washing and grazing, and really how they are complete opposites. And so in the end run, if I have a architectural detail like a stone textured wall or brick or a geometric wall, again, right, that is an architectural detail for a reason, meaning that there is intent behind the architect to put that there. It has no structural foundation reasons to have a stone wall, right? You could have just gone with a flat white wall. So our goal now is to use grazing, which really in the end run is a more narrow optic and beam spread, taking that fixture, putting it closer to that actual wall. And one of the root words for graze in the Greek language is to scrape. You are literally taking light and scraping that architectural detail with light. Now imagine though, if that wall was a white wall that's just plain, has a bunch of little beat up imperfections, but you still have a focal point, which a focal point is the things that are all the the fun things like memorabilia, artwork, paintings that we put into a space. Imagine you had artwork on that wall. Now the goal of this is to make sure that the viewer's eyes are focused on the artwork, not the imperfections of the wall. So now we're taking that fixture, we're bringing it a little bit farther out, we're widening that beam spread, and we're washing that wall so that the eyes stay focused onto the architectural details. So back to the slides really quick, Ted. I want to just define these really quick. In the end run, this is what I want to keep in the front of our minds, that these are two really distinctly opposite types of lighting design techniques. So wall washing is a technique in which light fixtures are placed farther from the wall to evenly, again, remember that, evenly illuminate, creating a smooth, washed look that minimizes shadows and flaws. Okay, and then grazing is a technique where lights are placed close to the wall at a narrow angle to highlight the textures, to scrape, remember that, to scrape those textures using shadows to emphasize architectural details. And this is the last thing I'll say today on washing and grazing, is remember, we don't need to overlight things. That is something I've seen so often in these projects. Is we're overlighting. We're trying to bring light to too many places. We need to allow the way the universe works, right? Up, there's down. Good, there's evil. Black, there's white, right? In the same way, light and then there's shadow, there's darkness. We need to work with both of those facets of life to be able to bring in the types of designs that we need.
If you're going for a smooth, elegant wash, distance is your secret weapon. A simple guideline. Place the fixture about 1/3 of the wall height away from the surface. In a room with a 9-foot ceiling, that's roughly 3 feet out. Then space the fixtures about that same distance apart. Why? Because that rhythm allows the beams to overlap naturally, blend, soften, and erase any hot spots or scallops. It results in a seamless plane of light that feels polished and intentionally designed. Grazing is the exact opposite because it's all about texture and shadow. Adjusting the beam angle is the best way to do that. With options like 10 degrees, 30 degrees, and 60 degrees, each angle tells a completely different story. A 10-degree beam provides sharp shadows and exaggerates every detail. A 30-degree beam gives you balance, texture with clarity, and control. A 60-degree beam softens the contrast but still preserves definition, offering a more understated reveal. As the beam widens, the wall changes. Texture can leap forward with intensity or settle into something refined and architectural.
So, with that at the forefront of our minds, right, making sure that we understand the very definitions of these two different lighting design techniques, wall washing and grazing. Now I kind of want to be able to showcase and talk about the different product recommendations or product engineered product solutions that we have in our portfolio that can then help you achieve these different design techniques. So let's get into it here. Again, I want to kind of highlight something that has been really a major issue in the industry with grazing. Wall washing has been around for a while. Grazing really kind of started to take off about 10, 12 years ago in lighting design. And the issue with it was that these grazers were very, very expensive, super bulky, and hard to keep on spec. So you would have these beautiful projects that they were going to graze, but we had some very traditional issues with grazing fixtures. And so really grazing the old way, the traditional issues, they were far too expensive. I mean, you had grazers that could be $300, $350 a foot. Very expensive. Most of the time, in the end run, they just ended up VEing it off and going with a track light of some sort or a down light that had maybe a more narrow beam spread. Also, they weren't customizable. This was another major issue. You were stuck with the dimensions that you get, 24 inches, 36 inches, 48 inches. So what happens when you have a 44-inch wall or a 42-inch wall? Well, you can't use a 48-incher, but what if that 36-incher is going to leave a little bit too much of some dead spots on the end? Being able to customize it was huge and needed in the industry. And then size restrictions as well. So a lot of these grazers were massive. They were bulky. You had to use some type of pocket frame or a way to conceal it. Obviously, that's always still best practices, but having something more low profile was very much needed in this industry to be able to bring grazing to different different applications you couldn't before because of those size restrictions. And then also adjustability of the fixture. Being able to have different adjustable mounting brackets, being able to adjust the fixture, not just in mounting and the actual fixture itself, but also the light engine. Being able to do not just static white, and getting up to high lumen outputs and any type of CCT you want, but now being able to implement tunable white, warm dim, RGBW, RGBTW into these low profile linear grazers. And a couple other things was light leakage. That's a big one that we're gonna talk about today on our GRAZE and the custom patented dual optic that really allows that light to be where you need it on that textured wall and not leaking out into the viewer's eyes and wasting that light that's spilling out and not actually being utilized on the textured wall that you need it. And then also poor performance. So that was the other big one, is that you had 80 CRI, 85 CRI. You really did not have these high quality CRI and gamut fidelity types of fixtures. So Diode LED solutions, what are we gonna bring to the table here with grazing and wall washing? So obviously, I think our most popular grazing fixture optical luminaire is our GRAZE. And really, this did change the game when we released this years ago. Again, some of the main key components here is obviously we have that patented dual optic. If you've never seen the magic trick before, we have plenty of videos online where our past reel-to-reels on the GRAZE that showcase this magic trick. If you're a salesperson out there, a sales rep, a distributor, and you're trying to showcase the performance level of this GRAZE, that is a great trick to use because it really, again, tells the entire story behind this dual optic and why it's patented and how it's unique in the industry. But we're utilizing our Valent light engine technology. So again, you can get up to 95 to 98 CRI with all of the different static CCTs that we offer in the Valent family, but also then being able to utilize Valent tunable white, Valent X tunable white, Valent RGBW, Valent warm dim, or even Valent RGBTW to bring those dynamic solutions still in that small profile, extrusion profile. It's very, very low profile. So, and then obviously the biggest thing for us is minimizing that glare and making sure that that optic, that beam spread, that light is where you need it to be without having spillage. And so that's what's unique about the GRAZE is even without a pocket frame, even without concealing it, you're getting that light on that textured wall and it's not becoming a glare bomb in your eyes of the viewer. And so the other big thing for me that I think is missed a lot of times with GRAZE is because it's so specialized, it's unique, it's a patented technology, people think you're gonna have 3 to 4 week lead times. Nope, we build it here in Reno, Nevada to your specification. And so we can have this shipped in 5 to 7 business days at custom lengths. So very, very quick lead times. It's also very easy to configure. So you can build this out into 1.5, 1-inch increments and customize it. You can daisy chain them together to go longer than 8-foot runs if needed. So I want to then kind of get into some more of those high-level talking points with the GRAZE. We created a really cool video just showcasing some of the performance levels and where you can utilize this product.
Meet GRAZE, our flagship linear grazer and the product we bring out when texture really matters. This factory assembled fixture is designed by our in-house team of engineers for precision and consistency, delivering controlled, uniform illumination across textured surfaces. Let's start with optics. You can choose from 10 degrees, 30 degrees, or 60 degrees beam angles, all powered by our patented XTIR linear optics. The result? Intense controlled light exactly where you want it. On the wall, not in your eyes. Even in a small form factor, this is one bright fixture with lumen packages from 300 up to 800 lumens per foot, depending on configuration, all at 95 plus CRI for excellent color rendering. GRAZE is built to length in 1.5-inch increments, 6 inches to 8 feet long, so it fits your design perfectly and also features flat or angled louver options. And if you have a long run, no problem. You can daisy chain multiple fixtures for a continuous look. It comes in static white or an array of dynamic options such as warm dim, tunable, RGBW, or RGBTW. Basically, it's a grazer that marries high performance with customization.
Awesome. So that again is our GRAZE, our kind of IP20 indoor grazing technology. There's more to come with that in the future. We are working on a exterior grade Graze X kind of profile. But I want to talk about our next option for grazing for those outdoor applications, our OBD Flex optics. Okay, so as you guys are probably remember the optics by Diode LED, this is just the new updated version with a lot of those, I would say, limitations we were able to kind of fix and really give you a nice updated version. So light engine around 90 plus CRI, 2 different lumen options. The 400 plus lumen a foot, you're looking at more around like 5 to 7 foot types of walls, and in the 600 lumen a foot, you can achieve around a 10-foot height wall. So to keep that in mind, this is IP65, so be careful. You still want this to be somewhat concealed from the elements and not have just direct rain exposure. 24 volts, max run is about 14 feet at the 400 lumen level, 17.5 feet at the higher lumen output, and then you have a 20-degree beam spread as well as an asymmetric beam spread, and we're looking at around 5-year warranty. And so I want to go into it and kind of showcase a few other options that you have with OBD and where you can utilize this fixture.
OBD stands for onboard diffusion/optics, meaning the lensing is built directly into the tape, giving you defined beam control without stepping up to a rigid fixture. You can choose a 20-degree narrow beam for crisp, dramatic grazing, or an asymmetric beam that spreads light smoothly for wall washing, all from the same flexible platform. It runs on 24 volts DC and is available in 5.5 or 7.6 watts per foot, delivering roughly 400 to 700 lumens per foot, depending on CCT. With an IP65 rating, it's ready for exterior facades, and with the asymmetric option, works well on retaining walls. The option to field cut every 6 inches makes it easier to modify on site. It's precision optics, just in a much more adaptable form.
Awesome. So again, that's our exterior grazer option. More to come in the future with just additional exterior grazing profiles. So be on the lookout for that. And then I also want to now talk again about our wall washing option here through our BROADWAVE family. So this is just some high-level specs on this. Probably my favorite part about this wall washer is that it's 120 volt, which is big for exterior grade wall washing. A lot of times these engineers and specifiers on the project do not want to deal with having to house all of the drivers and remote them and have a centralized area for all of those drivers. So we went with 120 volt. You can go up to 277 as well, so that now you don't have to deal with any drivers. But the other big kind of, I would say, talking point with the BROADWAVE is that it is a decoder on board. So now you don't have to hide the decoders as well. This speaks through RDM to be able to address these different decoders. You can get up to about 30 fixtures on the max run. We have a 2-foot option and a 4-foot option with a 30 by 85 degree beam angle and multiple different mounting accessories, everything from rotating arms and different types of mounting clips. So I want to, again, now showcase some of the other cool things you can do with the BROADWAVE. We made a really awesome video for this as well, showing the outside of our building facade here.
Applying color, motion, and life to building walls can be done with the BROADWAVE RGBW wall washer for more than just a subtle graze. This is high output, line voltage performance built for scale. BROADWAVE runs directly on 120 or 277 volts. No external driver required for clean power and a clean install. Available in 2-foot and 4-foot lengths, each fixture is packed with RGBW LEDs, ready to flood large vertical surfaces with controlled color, or even crisp 4000 Kelvin white whenever needed on a project. With integrated DMX512 and RDM built right in, you can daisy chain up to 30 fixtures and orchestrate entire facades in sync. It's built to live outdoors thanks to its aluminum housing, IP65 rating, and tempered glass lens. Hinged brackets rotate up to 150 degrees, so you can aim it exactly where it's needed. The elliptical 30 degrees by 85 degrees beam creates a wide vertical fan with controlled horizontal output, making it ideal for washing tall surfaces without excessive side spill. In terms of output, the 4-foot fixture delivers about 1,125 lumens, and the 2-foot version produces around 540 lumens, providing enough power to illuminate multi-story facades up to 3 or 4 levels. The fixture is UL listed and backed by a 5-year warranty, meeting commercial project standards.
Awesome. So as you can see, our BROADWAVE outdoor wall washer, it's not going to be for those skyscrapers. It's not meant for these massive buildings. But in the end run, 80% of the projects that we're doing wall washing on are going to be those 2-story, 3-story, 4-story buildings. And so this is, I'll put this against almost the majority of those wall washers out there. It is extremely cost effective without, again, having to deal with all those drivers and decoders and having to centralize and remote those in a shared space. So then the last fixture I want to talk about today is one that's really a sleeper. Most people sometimes don't even know that we had this, this option. This is really the brainchild behind the evolution of GRAZE. So this is our GRAZER channel. It was the first grazing optical luminaire that we created. It is really just an extrusion channel that has an optic on there. Some of the high-level specs here is that surface mounted, so you're not recessing this. You can technically, but you better have a good mill worker. Okay, and then you get it in the normal channel length options of 4 feet and 8 feet. We're going with one single beam spread here at 24 degree. Okay, and then this is really, though, what I love about it is the options. It's LED tape ready with both Blaze, Dazzle, and Streamlight family, but something that I really been a fan of is now that introduction of our new Valent Mini tape light engines. Man, can you get this GRAZER channel to be a very high output GRAZER, where you couldn't do that before with our Valent Mini at the 700 lumens a foot. So I will be showcasing that here at the very, very end, but think about this where you're doing more backsplashes and smaller little niche areas that you want to graze and stuff. So we have another video here just to end it off here, just to showcase some of the other cool things you can do with our GRAZER channel.
Now let's talk about our option for simple grazing solutions. Our GRAZER channel is the best answer to that. It's a starting place for grazing and works for applications where impact without complexity is needed. Made of sturdy aluminum with a narrow, built-in 24-degree lens that turns standard LED tape light into a flawless wall grazer. You start with the channel, drop in your tape, snap on the lens, mount it, done. It ships as a complete bundle with the extrusion, optic, clips, and end caps, giving you everything you need to build a custom solution right on site. Part of our ChromaPath channel series, GRAZER channel keeps things simple and cost-conscious while still delivering a clean, defined beam that highlights texture and detail. Pair it with a high-output favorite like Blaze X, Streamlight, or our new Valent Mini 8mm, and suddenly a basic low to medium height wall becomes dimensional, layered, and alive. You can also refer to the GRAZER channel spec sheet on DiodeLED.com to learn more about the other tape light families and how they work within the channel.
All right, so again, that's a sleeper. Not a lot of people know about that. Sometimes you don't have to have the highest performance GRAZER that's a little bit more costly, that has those super high lumen outputs and different beam spreads. You need something simple, more cost effective. That's our GRAZER channel. And so I appreciate you following us on this journey. This is our longest lasting series that we've ever had. I'm very proud of it and where we've come. So I appreciate you. I'm Cam, Senior National Training Manager at Diode LED, and I will see you on the next one.